Hello folks, Scott with Dallas Paint Correction and Auto Detailing here in Dallas, Texas. It happens to be 4th of July weekend. I hope all of you are safe, having a great time with family and friends, possibly celebrating the holiday. Here in the South, here in Texas, we're actually allowed to buy fireworks legally a couple of days before the 4th of July and a couple of days after, and we can shoot them off as long as there's no fire ban. So I guess my point is the next couple of nights I'm probably not going to get much sleep. But I just wanted to tell you guys I love you. I want you guys to have a safe holiday weekend. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your time off from work if you've got that privilege. And just be safe so we can see you in the future. I want to go over a couple of different things. I'm actually going to be making two videos here to kind of incorporate one product per video instead of doing one video for two different products. I want to start talking about what I use for protection on a professional level, the paint sealants that I really like to use, and also the carnauba wax, the organic type of wax that I like to use on a professional level and why I like them. So this first video is going to be about a product that a lot of you may know about. If you're a professional, I'm sure you probably do. If you're a car enthusiast, maybe you haven't been exposed to it, I'll expose it to you today. Or if you're just coming across this video for the first time saying, hey, what's a great paint sealant? Scott seems to know what he's talking about. Well, and I also want to kind of say something. My last video when I was talking about liquid waxes versus paste waxes, you guys will learn the more that you kind of follow me if you choose to do so. I bless your heart if you do. I like to make words up. It's just part of my personality. I use the word liquidable for liquid wax, and I am well aware that, you know, liquidable assets would be something you'd hear in the financial industry or something like that, but I decided to make my own word up, and I love it. I do it with my customers. Sometimes they look at me and go, holy crap, this guy's so great, he even makes up his own words. But thank you for teasing me about it. I love you all. It was great. So what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to try to make this quick, right? It's never quick with Scott. This happens to be Menzerna. This happens to be the paint sealant that I love on a professional level, and there's a couple different reasons why. This actually happens to be bottled by Jescar. Jescar is the importer here in the United States of Menzerna. It is still the Menzerna Power Lock sealant that I've been using for years. It's just bottled by Jescar. It's the same stuff. Why do I like this stuff when it comes to a paint sealant? Well, one, the quality of this paint sealant is phenomenal. It's not one of the best. I know somebody's going to tell me there's ones that are better. But from a professional point of view, this is probably the best bang for the buck that I can give to my customers, lay a nice layer of protection down on the paint, and this stuff, a little goes a long way, which is really important in a professional's viewpoint. It's also incredibly easy to apply, but more importantly, auto detailing is difficult enough. You've spent time washing the vehicle. You've spent time cleaning the vehicle. Now you're going to put some type of paint sealant on the car. It's very easy to remove. It's just phenomenal, and the price is right. It's not the cheapest paint sealant out there, but the price is right. So how I typically do this, and just kind of go over this quickly, of course we want to wash the panel. If you want the best results, the best durability, longevity of any paint sealant, any wax that you're going to use, whatever you prefer, always make sure the surface is clean. You want to make sure there's no bonded contaminants. You want to make sure that you use a clay bar to remove those bonded contaminants, or the wax or the sealant you may be trying to use will not bond to the paint properly, and you'll start to see longevity and durability kind of fall through the floor, and you'll get aggravated because you spent so much time. So there's some tips for you. Now, after I wash a vehicle, after I clay a vehicle, and before I put a paint sealant down, I go an extra step. A lot of people have been asking me, hey Scott, what do you use as a paint prep? What paint preps are is after you've washed the vehicle, a lot of us are using pH neutral pH neutral soaps. They have some glossing agents in it, that's fine. Then we're going to use a clay loop to clay with, and then we're going to lay a sealant down. Well, I want all those synthetic formulas that may be in the soap, that may be in the clay loop, I want them off the panel after I do those two steps. And we call it a paint prep in our industry. And what paint preps do, they're solvents. They remove any type of wax, any type of residue on the panel, any type of polymers, that fancy word, from any of the previous steps that I've done, because I want absolutely clean, virgin clear coat. These formulators, whether it be Menzerna, Optimum, McGuire's, whatever you like, they formulated these things to bond to virgin clear coat. We don't want anything in the way. So this is just a side note. This is made by Duplicolor. It's their grease and wax remover. Their part number CM543. So I will transfer this. This comes in 32 ounces. It's about $8. It's a great deal. And what I'll do is I'll transfer it into a spray bottle. A little goes a long way. Maybe half this panel here, I might hit it with 2 or 3 spritz and that's it. And then I'll massage it into the panel. It's a solvent. It will take grease and wax off the surface of the panel. So I'm ready to have a truly clean and virgin clear coat to apply this paint sealant. So that's kind of an extra step I take, and just wanted to pass that along with you guys. Now what I'm going to do when it comes to using a paint sealants have, as a rule, there are some other stuff out there. There's coatings, there's other paint sealants, whatever. But as a rule, a paint sealant is something that's synthetic, completely man-made. It's not organic in nature. Paint sealants traditionally, yes, they're still a wax, but they're traditionally going to give you a lot more durability and longevity, because paint sealants, the melting point or the boiling point for the protection within this bottle is much higher than a carnauba. If you put carnauba wax on the carnauba itself will start to break down at 140 degrees. The melting point on a paint sealant is much higher, much more appropriate for those who live in the South or even in the North. If you're looking for protection, paint sealants that are synthetic, man-made, engineered are probably your best bet for protection. So I'm going to show you how I use this. I'm only going to do half this panel. I have a DA in my hand. Now there's a couple of ways you can apply this by hand if you want. I just kind of like to take the easy route, take the elbow grease out. You can apply a wax or a sealant with, typically people are using a red. This is a non-cut, absolutely non-abrasive, has no bite to it. It's just a soft piece of foam, and attach it to the DA. It's the red. Typically this is kind of like a color code that's kind of, you know, everybody's sharing the same color codes to some extent. This is red, really, really soft. A lot of people use this for wax and sealants, and that's fine. I actually go to a finishing pad. This is actually a black finishing pad. It has very little cut, has very little bite. It's actually insignificant. But the reason why I like the black one versus the red one, the black one doesn't allow the product as much to kind of saturate into the pad. The black finishing pad by most companies, this happens to be Lake Country Force Pad, it's their black one. You can use this with a jeweling polish. It really has no bite or any cut to it, but it's really, you can apply waxes and sealants. But my point is I like the black one because the product doesn't get lost or want to get saturated as much as the red one, and I want to try to keep as much product on the surface. I just wanted to share that with you. So what I'm going to do, you probably noticed that other bottle there, and I'm going to tell you how I do this. I'm going to take Menzerna, Jescar, the Power Lock, and I'm going to put a couple of dots on my pad. I'm only doing half this hood for a small little demonstration. But here you go. I've got 3 little dots on it. That's more than enough to do half this hood. What I'll do is I'll dab it out, kind of just let a bunch of that stuff be on the surface. I'm going to leave my polisher on speed 2, 2.5, whatever you want to do. And all I'm going to do is massage it into the panel, make 2 passes over an area so I have uniform coverage, and it would look like this. Now I had fun with it. I actually worked the product a little bit longer, but basically try to get 2 passes over an area so this way you have uniform coverage. Very little is needed with Menzerna Power Lock or Jescar, however you want to look at it. The thinner the layer, the better. Typically with this stuff, what you have to do when you use Menzerna, if we read the bottle, it says, allow to dry to a haze and remove residue after a half hour. Well, what does that mean? Well, typically you want to wait at least, wait a half hour to remove this product. So what I would typically do is I would start here on the hood, go all the way around the car. Maybe that takes me 10, 15 minutes, whatever. I'll put my DA away. I typically go right to taking this product off after about 15 minutes. It also says you can remove it after it's haze. So you have to determine when that happens. But if you want to follow the letter of the rule, you want to wait about a half hour. I typically don't, to be honest with you, and I don't see any issues with at least going all the way around the car. And then when I get back to where I started, then I start removing it in the same pattern I go as far as applying it. Now, what's great about this stuff, I'm going to take a microfiber towel. This is just a nice, clean, plush microfiber towel. Of course, we haven't let it sit for a half hour, whatever. I'm trying to make a video. I'm simply going to go in here and take this stuff off. And folks, this is the part when we're talking about being a professional detailer using friendly products. This stuff will blow your mind on how easy it is to remove. In my opinion, it is one of the best sealants, not the best, but one of the best paint sealants on the market for ease of use. It is, Menzerna would not tell you it's sun friendly. They want you to apply this stuff outside the sun. I'm mobile. I'm using it in direct sunlight. I don't have any issues with it. You have to determine whether or not that makes sense in your world. But even on a hot panel in direct sunlight, use very little. A nice thin layer is all that's required. You'll get nice coverage, incredibly easy to take off. There's no, especially if you're doing paint correction, and you just did paint correction on soft paint like Japanese paint, it was black and you did a two-step, and now you want to apply a sealant. The amount of pressure you need to apply to this microfiber to take this paint sealant off is so light, so little, that you still got to be careful, use some common sense, don't apply a lot of pressure, but you'll lessen the risk of marring the paint just taking the paint sealant off, because it's so easy to take off. I love it. So there you go. That's how quick and easy. I'm literally applying no pressure to this microfiber and it just comes right off. Now, when it comes to paint sealants versus waxes, paint sealants give us more durability, more longevity. Menzerna, Jescar, gives you nice water beating. It will sheet water. It's also amazing there in that performance as well. What I like to do after I've applied a paint sealant, because paint sealants typically don't give you that luster like a carnauba wax would, an organic wax would that has like a warm, wet glow look. So what I do whenever I'm using a paint sealant for my customers, which is a great deal of the time because we're in Texas, it's awfully hot. I want a product that's going to last. Paint sealants are going to last longer. I want to highlight this product here. This is made by Griots. I'll do a video about it in the future. This is their spray-on wax. It's kind of a carnauba-based wax, but what's very interesting about this stuff is because the paint sealant kind of doesn't have as much luster as a carnauba wax, I want to take this panel to the next level. I've got paint sealant on it, nice protection, durability. I'm going to take my spray wax and use it as a final inspection all the way around the car and take advantage of the fact there's some carnauba in this stuff by Griots spray-on wax. And all I'm going to do is just a couple little spritz on the panel. That's it. Not a lot. A little goes a long way. I'm going to take a microfiber towel and just go over this area and just kind of do a final inspection on this panel. Make sure I removed all the Menzerna. Now what I'm doing indirectly is kind of giving this paint sealant a wax, a organic wax type of look to it. Yes, it's short-lived, it's not going to last forever, but it will take a paint sealant. You got to remember something when it comes to paint sealants like Menzerna. This is petroleum based. It's got petroleum in it. It's got to have a carrier for the synthetics. If you try to lay another layer over this Menzerna, you got to wait 3 hours because the mineral spirits within this will take the first layer of wax right off the car. I don't want to do that. I'm also mobile. I'm a professional. I don't have time to wait 3 hours and apply another layer for my customers. It's just not realistic. So I play the game of using a paint sealant and then using a carnauba based spray wax that has no carriers. This isn't petroleum based. These carriers here are just really easy to apply. I'll spray some more on there. I'm not worried about this spray wax eating away at the Menzerna I just put on the car. It's really convenient, really easy. It's a great product. You massage it in the paint, it will flash relatively easily, won't leave a lot of streaks. You just go in and buff it off and that's it. But I'm using a paint sealant and I want to give that extra warmth and glow for my client. I'll use a spray wax that's got carnauba in it as a final inspection wipe down to give them that warm feel, although I used a paint sealant. Just wanted to show you that. Hopefully that makes sense in your world. It's one of the things I do to kind of maybe over deliver or give the customer a little bit more pop and shine. So I just wanted to share that with you. I love you all. Hopefully that makes sense. Until next time, love one another.